And now you're caught up. Welcome back, everyone, to the Steve Finnegan Show, fast-moving show today. And usually I don't do guests back-to-back, but in this case, there's always exceptions to the rule, and it's my pleasure to welcome one of my buddies, Jay Robertson from Opportunity, Arkansas, onto the show. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Steve, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, I appreciate this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Horton, who works with Jay, and you hear him with First News with Toby and Rebecca. So we are going to make this a weekly update with Opportunity Arkansas here on the Steve Finnegan Show. We're going to do it Fridays, Thursdays, 4:30, 5 segment. Some days, Jay, you're going to be on with me for 2, and if there's not as much stuff cooking, then we'll have you on for 1. But a lot to talk about today. I read your article from yesterday, the 4 ways the One Big Beautiful Bill will reform Arkansas's major welfare programs. It was a well-written, well-thought-out article, and I would like to begin there because that's actually in jeopardy right now. The Democrats are trying to undo a lot of the things in the Big Beautiful Bill by forcing the government shutdown. So,
that's right.
That's
right. It's a timely issue.
Yes. So one of the things that they're trying to take away is, and we talked about this. One of my listeners out there in California told me about this, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned it to you or Nick when we were together, but couch surfing is the terminology that they use out there. And he told me, he said there was this guy, young guy, 25 years old. All he wants to do is surf during the day and go to the beach. And he surfs at night and sleeps on different friends' couches or guest rooms. And he said he gets Medicaid under Obamacare and food stamps, and he's a 25-year-old healthy young guy that should be out there working rather than making the taxpayers fund his lifestyle.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous, and I think that's, if you dig a little deeper, you can see that that's what's really at the heart of the congressional Democrats who are forcing this shutdown to undo a lot of the reforms in the Big Beautiful Bill, because these reforms were really aimed at ensuring that these programs work as an actual safety net, which is what they were intended to be, and not a general welfare for all program for anyone. And so if you just listen to Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, you'll hear, the sky's falling. These are devastating cuts to Medicaid and the safety net. The reality couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, these are really common sense, simple reforms that really just say, if you're receiving welfare and you're able to work, if you're an able-bodied adult, you should work. Not most people would disagree with that. And it was really historic because this is the first time ever that for able-bodied adults on Medicaid, there's an actual work requirement. And so this is a big deal because it preserves resources for those that truly need it, but it also helps get people off the sidelines and back into the workforce. And so the issue with Obamacare is that, they wanted to move towards a government-run healthcare system and a single payer, and the best they could do was to take Medicaid, which is traditionally and created to serve the disabled, elderly, children, and they expanded it to say that anybody able-bodied working age can enroll on Medicaid. And it's been disastrous for Arkansas. We now have almost a third of our state that's dependent on that program. And our research shows that a majority of these working-age people are just not working, and they're receiving benefits. So the Big Beautiful Bill changes that, and it's going to be a game changer for Arkansas to help reduce government dependency and get these folks back in the labor force and participating in the economy.
And that's exactly it. And I would go as far as to say, you said it's a safety net, and it's never intended to be a lifestyle like this guy. And I'm sure that he's not the only person that's doing that. But I'm just looking, I do Money Mondays where I update everybody on the national debt. Now, Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries want to add another $1.5 trillion just to get this continuing resolution in the government open. And we're sitting at $37,555 billion. And it's gone up significantly just from Monday here to Thursday. Monday, we were at $37,542 billion. And so in less than a week, they've added that additional money, $13 billion to the national debt, and it's unsustainable. All these programs that people rely on, if the government goes bankrupt or prints so much money, which causes the massive inflation that we've been suffering under, it's gone. Now, I found one of the other things, and I knew that there was fraud in the system where people fraudulently use, they call it SNAP now. Most of us know it as food stamps, but Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And I did not realize this, what you got into. And by the way, Jay, give everybody your website. So if they want to look at this article that you wrote, that they can find it. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us at opportunityarkansas.org. And there at the top, you can click on our issues. You can see our latest work. You can check out this article and all the different issues we work on. You can also follow us on Facebook or on X at Opportunity Arkansas to see the latest updates.
Yes. And folks, if you're one of my followers on X, you'll be able to find both Jay, Nick Horton, and Opportunity Arkansas from my X account as well. But this was something that I did not know, that there was also mismanagement at the state level of the food stamps program. And how does that happen?
Yeah, so you mentioned the federal debt, so I'd like to start there. One of the issues and one of the contributing factors to this unsustainable national debt is that these programs receive an enhanced match from the federal government. So the state spends a little for Medicaid, the federal government kicks in a large match, and that creates a financial incentive for states to spend more to get more back from Congress. As you can imagine, multiply that by 50, it's not a surprise that our debt's where it's at today. So the really important thing that the big, beautiful bill did for food stamps is, for the first time, it's making states responsible for fraudulent transactions that happen on the food stamp program. Mm-hmm. So states that have a higher share of fraud are now going to be responsible to kick in payments and actually fund those benefits. And it's a really big deal, because this is the first step in changing that incentive to say states can't just run up a tab and send the bill to Washington, which, by the way, we're paying for that too through our federal taxes. But then now states have an incentive to get that under control. And so right now, based on the current error rates in Arkansas, the state taxpayers, we're going to be on the hook for about $50 million to fund our food stamp program unless we can get that down. Now, the good news is, if we can cut that in half, bring it down just a few percentage points, one, it reduces the cost to the state taxpayers, but two, it actually preserves these benefits for people that actually need them.
Yes. And Jay, you're going to find this out as it moves. And I just told my previous guest, 15 minutes of radio is the fastest 15 minutes of your life. And we're approaching the traffic break that I mentioned to you earlier. But folks, before we go out to traffic, and when we come back from traffic, Jay and I will continue this discussion. I want to tell you about my good friend Justin Minton and the Justin Minton Law Firm. He is the top trial lawyer of the year. He's a top attorney in personal injury cases, car accidents, motorcycle, tractor trailers, product liabilities. And the most important thing is skilled and competent attorneys. Justin and his team, his paralegals, they have taken such good care of me through these two car accidents, as I've shared with you, where I didn't have to worry about anything other than getting better afterwards. how do you get a hold of Justin? Very easy, folks. Your local area code anywhere in the state, and then dial 777-7777. So if you're here in Little Rock in 501, just dial 501-777-7777. You can also contact the Minton Law Firm through their website at Justin Minton, that's MINTON law.com, justinmintonlaw.com. And always remember, Justin was an insurance adjuster before becoming an attorney, so he definitely knows how they play the game. And another person that knows how to play the game of getting you home safely is Captain John Luke. So let's check in with him on the traffic. And welcome back once again, everyone, to this Thursday, October 2nd edition of the Steve Finnegan Show with me, your professor of democracy. And on the American Leak Detection Hotline is my good buddy Jay from Opportunity, Arkansas. If you're just joining us, we were talking about how the Democrats are going to try to undo all the or not, I shouldn't say all, but many of the very worthwhile reforms that the big, beautiful bill made to the safety nets. And, of course, our country is going broke and bankrupt. And if we go bankrupt, Jay, I'm sure you're going to agree with me. It's going to affect a lot more than just food stamps and Medicaid. It's going to affect every aspect of our government and economy.
Well, that's right. And that's the reason the big, beautiful bill was so important, to really restore the incentives here to make sure that states have some skin in the game to control costs for these runaway programs. So when you have states like blue states like California that are handing out Medicaid and all these benefits to people who are here illegally or people who are able-bodied not working, all that drives up the federal deficit. And, you know, Arkansas has made some strides here on our own in that we were the first state to put a Medicaid work requirement in place. But because of procedural issues, it got thrown out. And so we saw here that work requirements can work for Medicaid. And this is a big deal because it puts that law in place nationwide to ensure that able-bodied adults have to be in the workforce. You can train, you can volunteer. You know, there are exceptions. We're not talking about applying a work requirement to elderly folks or people who are disabled. I mean, that's what the safety net is here for. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't get that if you listen to what the congressional Democrats are saying. They'll say the sky's falling and we're closing down hospitals and kicking people out in the street. It's such an over-exaggeration of what these are, which are really common sense, basic, small reforms that just say if you are on welfare and you're able to work, we expect you to work.
Yes. And
it's as simple as that. But, you know, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that even something as simple as that is causing a government shutdown in Washington.
Yes. And you know, there's 2 points I want to make with you on this is the Democrats and the Democrat communists are freaking out because President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and several others have called them out on restoring Medicaid and Obamacare for all the illegal immigrants as well. Now, Mike Lindell from, he has Lindell TV, had a reporter covering this shutdown who walked up and talked to none other than Congresswoman Mad Max, as I affectionately call her, Maxine Waters, who's 87 years old and may have just told the truth for the first time when Lindell's reporter, now this is on X, everyone, if you want to see it and listen to the clip yourself, but she was confronted outside the Capitol by this reporter and asked again, and she came out pretty much and said, yeah, this is about restoring, Democrats are demanding health care for everybody. That's a direct quote that she said. And then Lawrence Jones from Fox did a magnificent job this morning. He was interviewing one of the Democrat communist senators and brought this up about having welfare and Medicaid for everybody to include all the illegal immigrants that have invaded our country. And then he pointed her right back to when NBC, fake news NBC, propaganda and disinformation, Savannah Guthrie was hosting the Democrat debate and asked them, raise your hand if you want Medicaid for all, and Cackling Kamala, Comrade Bernie, Imbecile Biden, Buttigieg, all of them at the NBC News debate in June 2019 in Miami raised their hands.
Yeah, it's. I would say it's surprising, but it really shouldn't be, because, you know, at its core, that's what Obamacare was about. It took Medicaid, a program that was intended to be a safety net for the most needy, and opened it up as a free-for-all welfare program. And we know that's their goal. Like, they want government-run health care, and we've seen the results of that here in Arkansas. It's been devastating to our state's budget. It's been harmful to our workforce. We hear from business owners who said it's really hard for them to get folks to come in and work when they can just stay unemployed and get free Medicaid benefits, get a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan paid for by taxpayers. That makes it difficult for employers to compete. And so, I think Arkansas taxpayers and the most needy in Arkansas should be really excited about these changes in the Big Beautiful Bill. They're going into effect, and I think it's gonna be a game changer for welfare reform in the state. Our job now is to ensure that policymakers lean into this, that at least here in Arkansas, we're not going to take advantage of exemptions or waivers. We need to move quickly, because the folks who depend on these safety net programs deserve it, and taxpayers deserve it, to ensure that our tax dollars are going where they're supposed to go.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to read this wonderful article that Jay wrote, it's opportunityarkansas.org. And then you can click on their work, and they have a plethora of issues that they work on up on the website. And you click on one of those, and you'll be able to see where all these articles and information is available. And just to be quite blunt, neither you nor I, a person that's unable to work or has a child that has got a devastating condition, or wanting to see these people removed from their Medicaid benefits, it's there for those type of people. We want to remove the people that are healthy and should be out working and just don't want to work. Would that be a fair assessment?
Absolutely. That's what this is all about. So at Opportunity Arkansas, our mission is to simplify government and solve generational problems. And we spend a lot of time working on welfare reform, because we acknowledge there's a role for the safety net to be there for the people that truly need it. But we've gotten far away from that. And it looks like finally we're starting to turn a corner. And it's a really exciting time for Arkansas.
Well, Jay, I do appreciate you being back on with us. I'll look forward to having you back on next Thursday, and we'll talk about, hopefully by then the government shutdown will be over, but I don't think so. So that remains to be seen.
Sounds good, Steve. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right. You take good care. Thanks, Jay. All right, folks. When we come back, we're going to continue on. And I just got a beautiful text message from a lady who was working with Michaela, who we've been talking about this week. And I'm going to tell you about this puppy that you may want to adopt. Okay, you're listening to me, Steve Finnegan, back after the news here on KARN.